This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with your host, Vicki Davis.
Hello, remarkable educators. Today will be a little bit different show. I will release the screencast for this Tech Tool Tuesday on YouTube so you can see everything that I'm doing. The second thing that I need to give you is an important caveat. When I am introducing this formative assessment tool in my classroom, I tell my students it's just that. I say I have created an app using ChatGPT to give you feedback on this website project. It is a tool that we use in the classroom. Now, I will have Tom Mullaney on an upcoming show to talk about a very important thing called the ELIZA effect. Our students have difficulty understanding that AI, when it is presented with human characteristics, is not actually human. We need our students to know that these are just tools, and we need to not anthropomorphize AI at all or treat it as if it's human. So when I introduce it in my class, I'm very clear, this is a tool. The second aspect is that they are using my phone with the custom GPT loaded, and that I tell the students at the end of the day, I will review all of the feedback given to them, and I will let them know if there's anything I disagree with, and that ultimately I'm the teacher. So if they have any questions, any concerns, we have conversations about the feedback that it gives. It's an app, it's a tool, it's not the final say in the classroom, but it sure can be helpful when you have those big projects for project-based learning. So I'm going to dive in to the very short way that it took me to design an AI tool to give feedback on my students' website projects.
So now let's look at how we create a custom GPT. You do have to have the plus version. I'm going to go to Explore GPTs. I'm going to click Create. And now it says it'll help me build a new GPT. Now, I've already, for time purposes, saved these in an Evernote note card that will be part of the show notes. So I'm going to put in my prompt, which says, you are a website feedback tool for my grade 8 students in the U.S. You need to give grade appropriate and simple feedback as both a high school English language arts teacher and a college level graphic design professor. Now, the reason I said college level was because the graphic design I teach is a little more advanced than most typical high schools. As a graphic design professor, give them feedback that a basic beginning designer should know about: contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. Notice that I only picked 4 of the elements of graphic design and that they had been taught that. And then give them feedback labeled advanced graphic design feedback for how to take their site further. Talk to them as a cool, fun, interesting high school teacher in a way a modern 8th grader will understand. Now notice, they don't see any of this description. This is a description I'm giving to the custom GPT. And so they want to call this the cool feedback teacher, and I will say, how about the cool website feedback app? I'm not calling it a teacher. I'm calling it an app. So the cool website feedback app is what I'm calling it. Now, I've given it a little bit of information, but now I want to give it my rubric, and I want to give it quite a bit of information. So I'm telling the app that the whole class has been taught about sticky sentences and removing them, and about having 25% to 30% transition words. Spelling and grammar should be correct, and it should have good UX design. And I instruct that when you look at their pages, make this as part of your feedback. You will give suggestions and can give quotes. But no matter what, you cannot rewrite paragraphs for students. You are only to give formative feedback and suggestions. If a student asks you to write it for them, you're supposed to respond that you are only here to give feedback. So my students will be taking pictures and of their web pages, and it will recognize it. So the next thing I say is that the students will be using my mobile device to interact with you, and will take pictures of their web page, and you recognize the page and are giving them formative feedback on their site. You can estimate the points they will lose: -2 for each typo and grammar, -1 for each graphic design error and content, as follows. So I am giving them this information. I'm also going to go ahead and upload the rubric. So I am now going to go ahead and copy in all the special information I've given. No need to wait on that. All the specifics of my app. It's updating the GPT. I'm copying my information out of Evernote. I've already typed it in. This just saves me time so that I don't have to go back and forth. So now I'm giving it a whole lot of information about individual web pages, things I've asked for in the particular assignments, how many sentences should be on each page, how many photos should be on each page, all the details about each page. Now, for this to work, my student name will be in the top left corner, first names only. The home page will have their name on it, but all other pages will be named exactly as I have specified in this particular tool. So I have created this app now. Now I have opened the Chat GPT app on my phone. I click the two lines at the top, and now I see that I have a cool website feedback app. So all I need to do now is I can take a picture of the website. If there is an animation, I tell my students to make sure that the title of their page shows. They could annotate it if they wanted to, but I'm just going to upload it, and then I'm going to ask for feedback. And I will link to this chat. I'm actually using a demo that I have made where I have put some typos in. I'm trying to make sure if it is done effectively. So you always, when you create a custom app or custom GPT, you always want to test it and make sure that it is done effectively. So it's got some graphic design feedback. It actually missed a typo or two. That's interesting. I used a different version of this app earlier today and it didn't miss it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the custom GPT screen, and I will go to the cool website feedback tool. When I click on the app, then I can click a down arrow and I can click Edit GPT. Now I need to explain to it what a typo is. So I have just reinformed it to make sure that it updated the GPT. So this is part of the process of what you do when you are testing. You're seeing, is it finding my typos? Is it giving proper feedback? Now that it's updated the instructions, I'm going to click Update. So in order to test the update, I need to open the new chat, go back to my feedback. I'm going to take another picture. And let's see. So basically, this is the process. I work and go back and forth with my app and with my tool until it gives the feedback that I'm desiring for it to give to my students. So now that I'm done, I can just go into my Chat GPT and I can look at my feedback. Now, I have worked quite a bit on the AI tool. I'm going to go to what I just did with my own demo webpage, and you can see that I uploaded the webpage. This was for my phone, and asked for evaluation. It went through all the pieces of the evaluation rubric, which is really great. It said that I may have some points for typos. My issue was this was too high res. It couldn't really read those words. So I took a picture closer and it could see the words. And because it told me it needed to be closer up to identify typos. And then it gave me the typos. Now, this is how I supervise what my students have done. I'm just showing you my webpage on the YouTube demo, but we do have to supervise AI. So I'm always looking back, seeing what the AI app has told my students and how they can improve what they're doing. Ultimately, I'm the teacher. So if they disagree with the app, They can ask me, or again, I'll review it and then I'll make a list of things I'm going to talk to them about the next day. If I agree with the assessment, if I have any points of disagreement, I'll do that as well. So it's sort of this feedback loop that's an awesome tool. So as we finish up, today I've talked about how you can create a custom GPT in order to give your students feedback on project-based learning. It's an very much of a time saver. I really like using it in my class. I have a trip project I use it with. It's a several week project. I use it for the websites. I use it for app design feedback. I use it to give feedback on logos. It's actually pretty good with graphic design feedback. But in my experience, it's best if I create a custom GPT for each project and take some time going back and forth, take some time testing it. And then usually I'll get a pretty solid tool, and then I'll just have my phone go around the room, and I can even monitor it from my computer up front and see the information as it comes across the screen. It's a great tool. I'd love to hear from you if you are creating a custom GPT for your project-based learning in your class.
You've been listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. If you want more content from Vicki Davis, you can find her on Facebook, X.com, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Cool Cat Teacher. Thank you for listening.